Greetings once again to the wonderful students in the 897 experience here at Regent University's School of Divinity. This is your instructor, Dr. Larry Asplund, coming to welcome you in week 7. Of course, you know, we're in the middle of module 3. Module 3 is a very, very important, crucially important module because it's the one where we explore and are exploring the BTH foundations, biblical, theological, and historical foundations that ultimately in an expanded version will be your chapter 3. As you know from Tuesday night's Zoom meeting, and if you didn't have a chance to watch that, you definitely will want to. This chapter and the introduction to the chapter in the proposal is unique to the Doctor of Ministry program, and so it's very, very important for us to understand what is involved. You remember there are 3 distinct seminary disciplines that are being demonstrated in this section, both the disciplines of biblical studies and of Christian theology and of church history. So again, we unpacked those details on a Tuesday night. In terms of our review, to catch us up from where we have been and are still going, Module 2 is a 3-week module that was focused on the summary of the literature, which of course in an expanded version will be chapter 2. And so it is it's the summary of the literature draft that you have been developing. So far, those that I have been able to interact with look very, very good. You sent me a draft, and when you do, I will mark the assignment as complete, and then I will send you very specific feedback by way of an email message. Now, remember, I'm assuming, unless I see otherwise, and if I do, I'll bring it to your attention. I'm assuming that having gotten this far in the doctoral program, you are excellent researchers and you're very good writers. And so I'm very aware that we need to send something on to Dr. Flynn that will convince him, and then ultimately your appointed chair, that you're ready to begin writing your dissertation. And so some of my feedback, a lot of it will have to do with formatting issues because it needs to look good. It needs to conform to Turabian formatting, etc. When you get a chance, turn on Grammarly and get it working for you so that when we have a final product, a final proposal, it will meet all of the criteria that qualifies you to move on to the dissertation phase of your program. So you are revising. I don't know that I've ever had a draft that didn't need some revision. So you're revising your draft, and then you're together we are producing a final summary of the literature, which can then simply be copied and pasted into the blank template. Remember some of the things we discussed last Tuesday. The annotated template contains an indication of all of the, and they're all common sense changes, frankly, but all of the changes that the School of Divinity made for formatting guidelines, both not only for the doctoral program, but master's programs as well. So you want to take a look at changes to footnote numbers, to the spacing requirements, margin requirements, etc., all very nicely. And you remember, ultimately, your blank template has a table of contents. Indeed, every element of that template is already set up with all the formatting guidelines in mind, including Microsoft Word default settings. So we've done everything we can to help you get this far, and then that will set the stage for you when you start to compose chapters of your dissertation. Please remember that in 899 or 880 or 898, rather, I'm sorry, in 898, this is kind of your final opportunity to make sure you have mastered the basic tools needed to produce a dissertation. The last thing you want to do is for your chair to say, by the way, I think you're going to need an editor. And it's usually not because the writing is bad. It's usually because you obviously don't grasp Turabian. And so make sure, and you know, I've provided a ton of resources for you at the bottom of the modules section for Turabian 9th edition, some tutorials for you, Microsoft Word settings. Also, Grammarly, of course, is very important, and you have a free version of Grammarly that can be very, very helpful to you. In fact, I think in our next Zoom meeting, I'll want to call up Grammarly and demonstrate for you specifically how that's going to be good when you go to composing your dissertation. So this is really a wonderful opportunity. In fact, it is my primary goal to prepare you as thoroughly as possible to write your dissertation. And so this is your opportunity to make sure that, if necessary, you polish those skills, those tools, etc. In terms of Module 3, then, Week 6, which we are finishing up, was just another opportunity to organize your research notes. This time, you have probably already concluded that what you have are research notes relevant to the BTH foundations. But this coming week, you will want to organize them again. You will have some research notes that are specifically related to the discipline of biblical studies, some that are specifically related to Christian theology, and some that are specifically related to church history. And we know that there's some overlap, but I think it's possible to see the best heading under which some of your research notes might fit. And so in Week 7, we are, of course, working on the outline. It's easier for us in this section in that we already have outlines defined for us, elements, the key headings defined for us in terms of the biblical foundation, theological foundation, and historical foundation. But I recommend that you think of 2 or 3 subheadings under each one that might give you some sense, again, going forward. It will keep you on track, keep you focused when you begin to write. And we looked at some possible ideas for that in our Zoom meeting. And then finally, Week 8, you will compose your BTH foundation section. And you will send me a draft. Don't wait until you feel what you have is perfect. Just send me what you have. We will work together. We will be partners together then toward the goal of having your final BTH foundation section of your proposal. Once you have that, along with your summary of the literature, you have 2/3 of your proposal. So the rest is going to be fairly easy in comparison. So again, that's what we're going to do on Module 3. It looks very much like what we did in Module 2. The Week 7 assignment is to finalize your BTH notes and then to outline them specifically. Again, you can use a literature map. You can just use a standard outline. And so you know what your major headings will be. I think it will be good for you then to kind of think about how you would like to organize your content under each one of the 3 areas. Maybe list, of course, when it comes to the biblical foundation, the key scripture passages that you want to address. And remember, on Tuesday night, we looked at the need for you to do at least one example of formal exegesis in your chapter 3. So don't attempt to do that in the proposal, but I think it's good to decide what passage you're going to use when it comes to that. And so you're going to organize under each heading what you hope to do. And again, a good outline really helps you to then stay focused when it comes to composing your actual BTH Foundations documents. And in Week 7, you will post a copy of your outline to the discussion board for your group. And then you'll have the opportunity to interact with each other and to learn from one another. And of course, I will jump in and interact with you as well. So Week 7 is all about you outlining, organizing how you want to deal with all 3 of those headings in the BTH Foundations section. I love how we are in a seminary program, a doctoral program. We recognize that for us, in order to build a solid foundation, it's got to deal with those key disciplines when it comes to our learning and our education in the School of Divinity. And so we rejoice at the opportunity to unpack and in the process to demonstrate our facility when it comes to biblical studies, Christian theology, and church history. So this is a very, very important, crucial, I hope for you, it is a kind of an edifying, kind of an inspiring opportunity for you to be able to review some key areas of your education as a School of Divinity student, and then be able to focus specifically on those things that you think will be relevant to your ministry project. Of course, once again, I'm always here to assist you every step along the way. Don't hesitate to let me know how I can serve you in the coming week. God bless you, everybody. Just have a great week.